All right, in this video, we're gonna talk about the software that you're gonna need to set up on your computer to get going. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and jump over to my screen and show you. This may look a little different to you. I'm not using Windows here, and I'm not using Mac. What I'm going to be using in this entire course is Linux. This is a particular distribution of Linux called Linux Mint. It's available for free. I think development on Linux and Mac is the best. So if you have a Mac, you can use that. If you have Linux, you can use. I would encourage you to use that. If you have an old computer laying around, an old laptop, an old desktop, you could probably get Linux, some sort of Linux Mint, to work on that very well. And so I would actually encourage you to develop in Linux or in Mac. Now, if you have a Windows machine and you're unable to install this, or you don't want to, or you just can't, look, you can still do this. You just might have to do all the software I'm going to show you how to use will work on Windows as well. So I'm not going to be using any software or any technologies that won't work on Windows. So let's just get that out of the way right now. I just prefer Linux. Most of the internet runs on Linux. The servers are going to run on Linux, and so it's actually the best technology to develop on for web development, especially. And you're going to have a lot less problems doing that. Now, you can do it on Windows, but you may have to do it a little bit of additional work and research to look up commands and things. I'm not going to be showing how to do things on Windows specifically, but you can do it, okay? So I am going to encourage Linux Mint. Now, um, if you want, you can go to linuxmint.com. Here you can download Linux Mint for free. If you have an older, slower computer, I would recommend you using the Mate or Mate edition or XFCE edition. These work really well on old laptops or old desktops. If you have newer stuff, you can use the Cinnamon, which looks a little nicer, and that's what I'm going to be using. Because I buy new computers and still put Linux on them because I think it's better than Windows and I don't have to worry about viruses and all of that. So that's what we're going to be using here. We're going to be using Google Chrome for the browser, mainly because most people are using Google Chrome. Um, Google Chrome has like a 67 or 70% rate of people using it. So it's best to develop on Google Chrome. It also has a lot of really nice development features that we can use. Um, you can also use Firefox. We're going to be doing it on Chrome. We might check some stuff on Firefox as well, but this is free and it works on all major platforms, Linux, Windows, and Mac. Uh, for as far as actually doing the coding, you need a code editor, and the most popular one right now is Visual Studio Code. So I'd recommend go ahead and setting that up. On Linux Mint, I'm actually using one called VS Codium, which takes all the Microsoft stuff out of it, but it's still pretty much the same uh, editor. If you don't want to use VS Code, you can also, another really popular one is Atom. So I do recommend this one. This is the one I've used the most as well. I don't use either one of these for a daily driver at my job. However, are both very popular. They have tons of extensions and themes and things like that you can install to make them your own, and they're going to be solid. They're both free and they both work on Linux, Mac, and Windows. So get one of those installed. And then the last thing we're going to need to get going is we're going to need some sort of local server to run PHP and your database on. And so the easiest one to get started on with this for beginners is Examp, or some people pronounce this as Champ. I'm going to say Examp because I pronounce everything wrong. You'll notice that when we get into talking about routes or routes, and I call them routes. So if you're somewhere like, like a normal person and you call them routes, so be it. Just understand that I'm going to say routes, okay? But anyways, if you go to apachefriends.org, you can download this for Windows, Linux, or Mac. Just go ahead and get the newest version here and just go through the install process. Don't worry so much about getting it actually running. We're going to show all of that once we're up and running and using PHP. So I think that's all the stuff we're going to need to get going. As we continue down the course. If we need something else, we'll go through the install process together on getting that going. But should be all we need, and I will see you in the next video where we're actually going to get started on talking about how the internet actually works. What is the internet? How does it work? And then we're going to start learning the first bit of information we need for web development, which is HTML. HTML is the starting point of displaying anything in a browser. So we'll talk more about that in the next video. But get this stuff installed, and then I'll see you there.